Hey there! This is Arthur King Live and welcome to my podcast. Where were you when you first heard of the possibility of this virus called COVID-19? What did you feel? Me, I was having mixed emotions when I first heard of the news. It says a doctor from China was imprisoned for spreading fake stories of a virus. The doctor's details were unknown. It was even a YouTube video that was going all throughout the online web. I was in the middle of the sea, busy with all the Christmas preparations for the ship. My body and mind were not syncing together. Aside from all the Yuletide stuffs going on, a relative close to me just passed away from cancer. It was too heavy for me. Then everyone else on board was expecting me to be jolly and give everyone a wonderful Christmas event. When the conspiracy video was played on my computer, I did not give an inch of interest. Feels like I really don't want to care at all. All I wanted that time was to go home, fly to my province, and pay respect to my deceased aunt. When the first COVID-19 was reported, I was busy doing a game show for the crew on board my ship. At first, my inner kid who loved Resident Evil games aroused. My imagination flew for a moment and I asked myself, will I be a survivor if this was a zombie apocalypse? I confidently told myself, yes, of course. Obviously, my head was not really thinking of the possibilities of an outbreak, of something like being quarantined or something that would make me feel powerless. I was thinking that this is going to be something that won't affect my job, so I was just cool about it. But when days passed, the number of positive cases in Wuhan, China kept on piling up. This time around, I was home in Manila. My mind was telling me now, this might get worse. The current government of the Philippines fancied China so much, and I had the feeling that the possibilities of a delayed travel ban was inevitable. My family became worried. As cases spread over Asia, we were scared that it would arrive Philippines as well. Prior to the first positive case in my country, the virus went loose over Italy first, a country that I enjoyed as a seafarer. Then came the day that the Philippines would have not wanted to come, the first positive COVID-19 patient. That very moment, all kinds of investigations went up, and crazy suggestions bombarded the government. But one suggestion was a favorite of mine. Ban all international flights coming in and going out of the country. It was the easiest. As a simple citizen, that to me was the best first step. But the government did not want to discriminate any country, so no travel bans were made. Until we needed to have a lockdown for the whole Metro Manila. Being inside the metro, this was not looking good anymore. Friends and families from provinces were asking me if I wanted to leave Manila. But my answer would always be, we're okay, everything's gonna be alright. I am still optimistic, even now. I was forced to close my small lechon business in Pasig City because the barangay itself did not allow people who are not residents of the area. I was thinking maybe it's a high time for me to have some rest. But the more my shop stayed closed, the more impossible for me to open. The security and everything became tighter than ever. Then I got to the point of wanting to reconnect with some of my friends via online. After weeks of not being able to go out of my house, it allowed me to reassess my life's decisions. So I tried checking with my friends and relatives' own realizations. Now the people I ask for answers are from different fields and parts of the world. I just want to share all of their insights. Some of them really surprised me, and you will really see the differences with the so-called privilege. First, my friend from Vietnam, Veronica. She informed me that this pandemic has shown the discriminating side of the people. Her husband is a nurse, and she described that the people in their area would stare at her husband in disgust and fear. She feels like the only thing missing is for those people to throw a pail of bleach over her husband. Second, Daniel, a chemist in the Philippines. Life will always be spontaneous and unexpected, no matter how prepared you think you are. His company tried to keep up with the pandemic. They first had people reporting in the office to continue in their production. When the ECQ was announced though, all company plans changed. They needed one long week for the company to decide. Well, it did not turn out good for everyone, but at least they were able to stretch things. Third, Cora, a doctor in the province. A lot of people should transfer residence and work to the province and leave Metro Manila and Luzon. Understanding a frontliner in this pandemic, you'll get her point right away. The spread of the virus in Luzon would have been lesser if people were not that crowded. If there were more spaces, then contamination would have been lesser. She also added that one intervention for us not to get sick is to get a lot of fresh air and sunlight exposure every day. Now, this doctor is a doctor of my sister since elementary days and became the doctor of my nephew as well. She is known to be one of the best pulmonary doctors, and I believe that her simple realizations are actually on point. Fourth, Dawn Zuleta. Not to be confused with the actress, her name is spelled with an O and not with a U, and she is a financial advisor. Nothing is more valuable than relationship with God and family. You'll know the character of a person during crisis. While chatting with her, we talked about so many things about financial literacy. She expressed her desire to teach people about it because when you are financially free, that is the only time you are able to bless others and can actually be available to assist the needs of your community. Fifth, Leslie, an OFW in Middle East. Prayer and public or community cooperation is essential for success. She is working in the Middle East right now, and since she is more of a house help, she will have to work even if there's this pandemic. One of her favorite pastime is TikTok, something that I am not a fan of because I don't have the talent in dancing as well. Being far away from your family, prayer becomes your weapon to ease and assure yourself from time to time. Her being always online also allowed her to be updated with everything that's happening here in the Philippines. Stories about realizations will always be a lot, and it will always be amazing to pick some interesting points from each one. This pandemic has tested my patience, trust, and faith. I do have things that I have learned, and let me share some of them. Number 1. The feeling of uncertainty. My level of uncertainty is common to all seafarers. I have felt that things might change in the upcoming days. Well, things are already changing, knowing that in the sea business, anyone can be easily replaced. But this time, operations are at halt. No one is technically working. This uncertainty taught me to hope, and hope for the best to come. Number 2, lifestyle check. This one's kinda hit me hard. I'm the type of person who would spend a lot for myself. I have the attitude of come what may. Though I can always be the thrifty Chinese person, but I can also be the complete opposite. This checking of lifestyle allowed me to look in the mirror and ask myself if I was really making right decisions. This led me to have more faith. Number 3, prioritization. What a serious word, right? But yes, this was meant to be serious. This quarantine made me think twice of my future plans. This made me check on what to save for, where to invest, and how to make use of what I have. Number 4, know your family. Funny, but this quarantine allowed me to know more about my family, like knowing one of your brothers can sing, that my father was a really good conversationalist. He can hold a conversation for 5 hours with only a cup of coffee. I also discovered that most of my siblings are really good in mathematics. I was able to listen to their playlists and discover that some of them are K-pop fans. Welfare of the Filipino people. For years now, I have been away from anything that's about the government. I just felt like trying to understand the process will contaminate your well-being, so I simply placed myself away from anything political. But after the COVID-19 outbreak, I have been vigilant knowing the updates from the government. I made sure I am able to see the steps being made, analyze the possible outcome. I became critical again, but this is not just because I wanted to. This is for the welfare of the Filipino people. I just want to make sure that I use my ability to speak and spread what is the truth and what I think is best. Number 6, the importance of prayer. The Lord has never failed us. His word has always been my guide in my life decisions. This time of pandemic, this is already cliche that we need the Lord even more. But yes, we need to remind the world about this again and again because we tend to lose our way all the time. That's why a constant reminder is a must. This COVID-19 came like a thief in the night. But instead of leaving right away, it has decided to stay for a while and take a little bit more. I have an aunt who's a psychologist. When I was in high school, she told me the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is typically quick. without much thought, tense, and aggressiveness. Responding, on the other hand, thought out, well thought out, calmado or calm, and non threatening. During the announcement of the lockdown, some reacted and hoarded stuff, like important things from the market. Others responded by thinking of their purchases sensitively. They thought of other people as well. In this time of pandemic, try to have some time with yourself. Think about everything that's happening. And once this pandemic is over, don't think of going back to the regular you. Be the better version of yourself. Thank you for podcasting with me today. Follow me on Spotify, Anchor FM, and YouTube. This has been Arthur King Live. Hakuna Matata.